What is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today we are going to talk about everything that just happened in the last 24 hours and a whole lot more, so stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right. What is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today we have a ton to talk about, so just to remind you, this is a live show. Anything can happen. Also, you can follow along. We're going to go through things very quickly tonight, so remember, you can actually follow along with the articles over on marfooglenews.com. Now, if we say something here, if we show you an article, a tweet, a video, a picture, a video, most likely we have the source and a bibliography for it over on our website. Now, when you go over there, you will see that it is all organized by thumbnail, so it's very easy to navigate. Right over here, you'll see artificial fire in the sky, 9 years left. Of course, referencing 9 years, they say that we have left on Earth before everything goes to crap. And then, of course, fire in the sky, referencing the artificial sun that China is making. So we'll talk about a lot of stuff tonight and stuff that is not on here. Again, if it is opinion, then I try to clarify so. And then, of course, all of the stuff that is too far to one direction or is basically impossible to cover while staying as neutral as possible, that will all be on web-only content. Once you hit that yellow bar, there's a whole nother show of stuff there that obviously a lot of people are getting kicked off for talking about. Even representatives and Congress people are getting kicked off for talking about. So all of that is down there. So remember, that is all free to use, and it's all there for you. If you do want to support our work here, then make sure to go over to the right side. All of our affiliates are there, our Amazon link, our PayPal, our NordVPN, EMP Shield links, and of course, our My Patriot Supply link. Those are affiliates, so essentially when you go over there, not only do you get a discount in most cases, but you'll also be supporting the show. We don't have any backup. Of course, a lot of people, think that we're treated the same as other channels, but we're not because of the stuff that we cover. Just as I believe, in fact, kids' shows are not treated the same anymore because of COPPA. We are not treated the same, but ours is more in the shadows. So thank you, everybody that supports us. I'm going to bring in Dex. Dex is still not feeling too hot, but he is here tonight, and he is joining us. Again, Dex is my internet brother, my co-host. So what is going on, Dex, and how are you doing tonight?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm still battling this flu. It's kind of crazy.
So I'm glad that you are with us again. If you want to pop in, you can. If you don't have to. Everybody was praying for both of us. We both had health issues. I was in the ER twice last week. I had internal bleeding, and then of course, so we're just direct, the both of us. But we are still coming forward with shows, and again, thank you guys for being patient with us. We did have to take a couple of days off. Luckily, it kind of coincided with the holidays, so again, it was no fun being in the hospital on Christmas, but it all worked out, and I'm just glad to wake up every morning. That's the honest truth. Simply Pony, thank you so much. Appreciate the early on support. CC, thank you for subscribing early on in the show. And then, of course, Diane Moses, thank you for coming in before we even started the show. Don't forget to hit the like, Diane Moses says, and then said, praying a happy, healthy new year for all. Hey, thank you again for your support of the show, and again for coming in before we even started. Again, thank you. It says NASA's retiring top scientist says we can terraform Mars and maybe Venus too. I think this is weird, and some of you may think my opinion is kind of crazy, but things are kind of adding up, or at least my big picture that I see is really starting to come clear, and it's starting to really compile multiple of these paths, because when you go down these theories, you see the different paths and you're like, well, how would this be related to that? I almost think that some of them are coming together, going back all the way to Timothy Cunningham and Atlanta and all this other stuff that happened, to Tennessee, to all of these other things coming together into today and what is happening to the entire world. That is my opinion. And I also believe that it may have something to do with space. But again, that may draw some blowback from people, especially the folks that don't like any kind of space talk. But again, this is something that they are talking about. They're talking about terraforming Mars and terraforming Venus. And this is something that, obviously not everybody knows what terraforming is, but it would basically be taking Venus or Mars and turning it into an Earth-like habitable planet, or at least something that we can live on. It says, since joining NASA in 1980, aka never a straight answer, in 1980, Jim Green has seen it all. He has helped the space agency understand Earth's magnetic field, explore the outer solar system, and search for life on Mars. As the new year arrived on Saturday, he bade farewell to the agency. It says that over the past 4 decades, which include 12 years as the director of NASA's Planetary Science Division and the last 3 years as its chief scientist, he has shaped much of NASA's scientific inquiry, overseeing missions across the solar system and contributing to more than 100 scientific papers across a range of topics. While specializing in Earth's magnetic field and plasma waves early in his career, he went on to diversify his research portfolio. One of Dr. Green's most recent significant proposals has been on a scale of verifying the detection of alien life, called, quote, the Confidence of Life Detection, or COLD. It says that scale he has published work on, suggesting we would terraform Mars or making it habitable for humans using a giant magnetic shield to stop the sun from stripping the red planet's atmosphere, raising the temperature on the surface. He has also long been a proponent of the exploration of other worlds, including a mission to Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter, that is scheduled to launch in 2024. Now, I also want to talk, of course, on the thumbnail of this video. China is making an artificial sun. In fact, the thing on the right there of your screen is actually part of the East, or the system that they have, and there's some news about it that we'll cover later. But just the fact that they are making an artificial sun, they are making an artificial satellite moon, they're making these weird things, and I know it sounds crazy, and I don't think a lot of people are just never gonna be with me. Just understand that I totally, I'm, never set in stone. And again, if you have a different view than I do, I hope that you can just get along with everybody and be able to talk about it and at least have an open mind. Because I do see a ton of things starting to line up, and it's almost like this 9-year deadline or something is relating to something else, and it's like they're all talking in code. That's just my personal opinion. As far as we have a lot of military and different people that are in different ranking positions, all the way up to high ranking and former military that used to be in some of the highest ranks watching this show right now. And one thing is that even they don't know. Nobody knows what's about to happen, but everyone can feel that something is about to happen. I just talked to Jacob Israel earlier today, And his view is that we should try to think positively. And it's crazy to think, but maybe even just talking about negative things could bring it upon us, that we don't realize how much power we hold when we talk negatively. Like, say, if we, talk about getting nuked, that it could possibly help us get nuked or something along those matters. And I do kind of agree. I think that collectively we need to all be positive, especially in 2022, where he and everyone else that I've talked to says that they predict that this is going to be one of the worst years ever. And that's just going off of what is lining up. I mean, we have an obvious path of what is happening. As far as the stuff that's going on with terraforming, well, why would you terraform? Well, you would terraform a planet if you were going to go live there. Why are we even talking about terraforming? Isn't there more important things here on Earth? Well, at the same time, they're talking about how our planet is going to be uninhabitable in just a short amount of time. In fact, they say that in the next 9 years, that something is going to go horribly wrong. Now, for those that don't really go along with that whole vibe, then I would ask you, then what is the 9-year deadline? If it's not what they say it is, do you think that it possibly could be something else? Like, they know that something's going to happen, they can't stop it, or they're trying to figure out how to stop it. That's my question. And, why are they making a government in space called Asgardia? Why are they launching DNA samples to the moon? Why are they doing all of these asteroid experiments? Why are they simulating evacuating New York because of a meteor? Why are they doing DART? Why are they doing OSIRIS-REx? Why are they doing Hayabusa? Which, by the way, Hayabusa, I believe it was Hayabusa, actually landed on an asteroid and basically did an explosion on it. Sounds a whole lot like the movie Don't Look Up, which Don't Look Up is a movie, and that kind of puts it right in our face and laughs at us. And it's a satire, right? Or it's a fake parody or whatever. And they say that it actually has a message behind it that is about the change. In fact, I have it pulled up here. This is, let's see here if I can, Don't Look Up. If you haven't seen this yet, and Dex has been sick, so he hasn't seen it either. I told him it was required homework. Like, this is, it really trips me out because there were a lot of things in this movie that actually related to real life. And obviously they were drawing inspiration. If there was no kind of weirdness here, they were drawing inspiration from T-Man, the previous administration, that being Mr. Donald. And then, of course, his son being possibly his son-in-law. They had tons of people that they were kind of parodying off of real people here. But that timeline between 2016 and 2020, it's like something clicked, something snapped. And this is just my view. I'd like to hear everybody else's as well. But judging, and I try to see the big picture and look at everything that's happening. And again, all of it could be the thing that they want us to believe on the whole back end, and then they have some secret plan above that. That very well could be too. But I feel like there was too many weird things in that movie. I want to remind you, Adam McKay, I've told you guys this before, the director of that film, is best known for his based on real events movies. His specialty is actually taking real events and then turning them into funny or sad or depressing or crazy movies. That is his best skill. And then in this, he actually, to put it even on the trailer, says, based on real events that haven't happened, and then another screen, it says ... yet. I wonder if something is beyond this, and they say that it's for the change of the earth, right? I just wonder if the change of the earth is code for something else. And I am being serious, and people are going to think I'm nuts or stupid, or the people that don't believe space or believe something different than they can go ahead and hate me. But I have so many things in the last 4 years that would start to make sense. I'm not saying that I absolutely believe it, but they would start to make sense if there was something greater, including the last 2 years where every country just jumped on board on something that, obviously a lot of us have some thoughts about. And, why is there such a structure going on? Really, there's some things happening, like they are actually gaining extreme control over everyone. Just a thought. Again, there are so many things in that movie, like the pointing out that they didn't do it because these asteroids could be worth trillions of dollars. I don't have to remind you if you've watched the show, but we've covered all of these weird articles in the last 2 years talking about how much these asteroids could be worth. And, you know, headlines like, this asteroid has so much gold, it could be worth enough to make everyone a billionaire. It's putting it in the back of our heads. It's really weird. And then they made the social network guy like a carbon copy of how weird Zuckerberg is. And saying, you know, in the movie how he talks about how he's got a profile on all of us. And what's really scary is that is a truth. As far as Zuckerberg has a profile on all of us that they say is better than FBI's and better than CIA's. That was a fact. That was something they came out with. They said that Facebook actually had better records of all of us, including people that weren't even on Facebook, through the people that you know that were on Facebook. They have more profiles on us than FBI. That is horrifying. But why? So I'll go through the rest. Again, I just want to let you know, there's so many weird things here, I'm telling you, and it's starting to really creep me out as far as like the Sunspot Observatory, all the weird things that have happened in the last couple of years. It's just, it would line up. The only thing I'm saying is that it would line up a whole lot more things and everything would fit into place with just one potential event. With one potential event, it would start to make sense out of all this stuff that we're like, why the F is this happening? Just saying. And again, terraforming Mars and terraforming Venus, they've never even talked about that. The fact that the outgoing guy is talking about this possibly means that they're secretly talking about this, or if it's real, right? And then, of course, Elon Musk has sped up his timeline. Another thing that just happened recently, Elon sped up his timeline, and he says that they need to be pumping out rockets every 3 weeks or they'll go bankrupt. I don't think they'll go bankrupt. I feel like there's something else, like a deadline. And then, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio talking about how there's 9 years left, and all these people saying there's 9 years left. 9 years until what? President B, until we go to the point of no return, right? President B gets stuck on Air Force One for 30 minutes in severe snowstorm. It says JB was whipped with snow and wild winds after getting stuck on Air Force One. The president was stuck on board the plane for around 30 minutes on Monday at Joint Base Andrews. And it says that President B was delayed disembarking the jet as the stair lifts struggled to get through the thick snow, according to reports. Personnel at the airbase were struggling to cope with the blizzard conditions, and JB's feet struggled to get down the stairs. Reporters and the president's team were delayed exiting the jet, apparently because someone was smart enough to let him go first. And then, of course, we have volcano warning as Mount Hood on track for a disastrous 2022 eruption, say researchers. Now, Mount Hood is actually near Portland. If you have never been there, I have been on this mountain, and it's a big one. Is ranked by experts as the fourth most threatening in the whole of the United States. It says a U.S. volcano could erupt in 2022 in a disastrous event that could affect thousands of residents and cause millions of dollars worth of damage, researchers fear. Mount Hood is an active volcano located 50 miles south of Portland, Oregon, and one of the highest mountains in the states. The U.S. Geological Survey ranks it at the fourth most threatening volcano in the U.S., which means it's currently being monitored. Experts warn that Mount Hood could flare up next year, but only time will tell when the next eruption will occur. It says a 45-minute earthquake swarm was reported near the site in early 2021, which is a typical sign of something to come. It is also considered the most likely of 5 volcanoes to erupt in Oregon, as featured in a short documentary by YouTube channel Underworld. It says one expert said a major eruption at Mount Hood in modern times would be disastrous. When Mount Hood erupts again, it will cause major damage, not just to the area directly around to it, but the places that are downstream, anywhere that cloud goes. It says scientists believe that the most likely Mount Hood eruption would bring the most deadly of all volcanic hazards. It says this comes in the form of collapsed lava dome or pyroclastic flow with fast-moving clouds full of hot gas and volcanic matter that hurtle down the volcano slope. These move at an average speed of 62 miles an hour and can reach up to 430 miles per hour in some instances. Of course, that's at the temperature of 1,000 degrees Celsius, so it would melt you in a second. It says potentially the most famous example of pyroclastic flow came during the devastating eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, which destroyed the city of Pompeii in Italy. In the context of Mount Hood, such an event would displace thousands of residents and cause millions of dollars worth of damage to buildings and other infrastructure. Mount Hood is a stratovolcano formed on many layers of hard lava and material from previous eruptions. It is part of the Cascade Volcanic Arc located in the Pacific coast. So it's crazy to think that Oregon has 5 of these volcanoes. This one, obviously, they're saying, possibly could it, be in 2022. It could be anytime. It could be right now. This is just something that obviously, if you're local there, you should consider. But also big ones like this. One of the fears is that this could trigger other volcanoes. 20 years ago, they did not know that earthquakes could trigger volcanoes. Volcanoes could trigger earthquakes, including subduction zones, which are big ones like the 9.0 that, of course, took out Japan in that tsunami. And then the Boxing Day earthquake, that caused many volcanoes. And then before that, they almost think that a volcano triggered that. So anytime that you have high-risk volcano, if something did go off or if this one went off, there would, of course, be worry about Yellowstone, which Yellowstone, there's a big debate if it's overdue, if it's ripe to blow right now. Why is NASA actually planning on drilling down into it, and they have a plan to save Yellowstone from going off? If you didn't know about that, make sure to look that up. Just look up NASA's plan for Yellowstone. It's pretty funky. They plan on drilling down, putting cold water in and taking hot air out or hot water out, and possibly even turning it into the world's strongest or craziest power plant. A lot of people debate if that's a smart idea because it's playing God, but again, most people consider it a stupid idea. What do you think? Put it in the comments down below. Remedy59, a rush of rock, they say, coming back. Perhaps it's planned practice, not a malfunction. A rush of a rock, they say, coming back. Perhaps it's a planned practice, not a malfunction. Remedy59. I'm trying to figure that one out.
That's our next article.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, I get it. And then it says, Marf, unfortunately, we have less than 9 years, in my opinion. My belief is maybe 8 years. Shout out to the mods, Dex and Marv. Hey, MeatBubba007, thank you so much for your support. Again, Deagle says 2024, 2023, 2025, that we're going to lose 2/3 of our population. If you don't know about the Deagle, again, Edwin J. Deagle was a really crazy life story guy that worked for like 3 administrations, started that website. His specialty was taking data from all over the world and compiling it. And he did that for presidents. He looked and predicted events based on statistics from all over the world. And presidents said that this guy was like some sort of savant. He was so good with data. He put together a website, and that website, which is now somewhat run, and I don't know who's running it now, but he passed away just a couple years ago, and it went down, and then it came back up. That website said that through all of the statistics, including from the UN, from NATO, from all of these different weird sources around the world, and including all of the events that have happened to date, algorithms, everything else, that they predicted almost every allied country would lose 2/3 of their population. So it was really weird. A lot of people have looked at that for years. Really, really crazy. And they line up solar cycle 25, which we are in right now, not to be a downer, they say that looking at the last 400 years and how they go, if you go by the 22-year cycle, then this may be the craziest solar cycle as well. We may have a crazy solar event. It's almost like we're playing, roulette, and we're waiting to see what the ball lands on. And all of them are not insane odds. Some of them have already happened. In fact, in the last 2 years, we had one of the end of the world scenarios supposedly happen, right? Redeemed, thank you for the massive support, and I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting independent. Make sure to put an R in the chat for Redeemed. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then Joseph Newhouse, hey, I found an article that could relate a secret symbol to Christ to Avatar 2. I will check it out. It says also made a dot not watch video about the tree of life. Thank you. What is up with the sun thing? I will, again, we'll talk about that here in a second. That's crazy. It says, K. Paul, I'm a duh. Happy New Year to all. LOL. I'm dying to hear you take on the G fiasco. LOL. And then Kate Paul says, any crazy fifth generation news? I'm hearing it's going to be a fiasco. Just got my internet back since New Year's Eve. It's not fifth generation. And then Ariel, the wrestling mermaid. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everyone, from Ariel and Mike. Hey, appreciate that. And then out of control Russian rocket could strike on Wednesday night. Oh, okay. Now I get what he said. The rush of a rock, they say, coming back. I get it. Rush of a rocket. Got it. Dex, I'm surprised I did not. The Russian rocket. Thank you for being careful in the comments. And seriously, you don't know how much I appreciate that. Because it's better to be safe than sorry. You guys are part of this channel. Honestly, the chat and everybody that's in it and the Foogle fam that are being able to talk and meet people that are like-minded, that's more than half of this channel. You guys are the majority of this channel. So when you try to be, thoughtful of that, that helps us too, because we're trying to go for longevity. We're trying to stay here as long as possible. Obviously too, this is, I have 4 children. This is the way that I make my living. This is the way that Dex makes his living. So we appreciate that you actually care. It makes a huge difference to me. I know it makes a difference to Dex, especially when we're going through hard times. Like, don't know how much we thank you guys. And, there's people that hate and say this and say that. For those that go the opposite direction and go out of their way to help, I just really thank you and appreciate you guys. Seriously. Out of control Russian rocket could strike on Wednesday night. An updated forecast released today suggests that an out of control Russian rocket tumbling back towards Earth could strike on Thursday. In an updated forecast shared by Joseph Remus at satflare.com, shows the rocket re-entering around 10:56 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, January 5th. And it says that as more data is analyzed, the impact areas will be refined and the impact time will be perfected. For now, the prediction could be off by plus or minus 25 hours, which is a day, which is currently much more refined than the off plus negative 60 hours that was in yesterday's forecast. It says during a previous out-of-control rocket impacts, scientists were able to provide few hours advance notice of the actual impact zone and time. So this is a really strange one, Dex. The fact that this is like the second, or no, well, I shouldn't even say second. I don't know how many mishaps they've had recently that involve space, and then China had a mishap, and now we have Russia having a mishap. That we've had tons of them in just the last 2 years.
Right. The last one that was hurtling down at us was from China. So, and this is I guess a new one from Russia, that it was a heavy lift vehicle, and it basically is very, very big. It's, extremely heavy. So this is kind of could be a big deal if it makes it all the way down and actually hits land or hits, somebody.
So do we know what was on it? It says the December 27th launch was the third test flight of the giant rocket. Why are they making these giant rockets again? Are they? I get that they could say that they're trying to lift bigger stuff into space, I mean, obviously China is saying that they're going to make miles-long structure in space. They're talking about making space hotels in just the next couple years. Again, when this stuff actually happens and the average person is just able to go up and down, then I think that a lot of debates will be put to rest. But until then, it's like, we don't know exactly what's really going on. It says, well, the launch was flawless and an upper stage rocket failed to successfully fire. It says, well, the Angara's first 2 stage fired as planned. The third stage, a Persei rocket, failed to fire a second time. Well, the first fire helped put the dummy payload it was carrying into low Earth orbit. The failure of the second fire failed to put the dummy payload into geostationary orbit. Instead, the 20-ton mass is tumbling out of control to Earth. According to NORAD, short for North American Aerospace Defense Command, the tumbling rocket and payload has been numbered 50505, which, I'm sorry, but I wish Jacob was here on the phone. This is just, why would they label it this? Do you see that? That's just weird, like one short of 666. That's just weird. I'm sorry. Why would you? What is the significance of 50505? There's okay, Joseph Newhouse. That's a good one for you. See if you can dig up anything on 5055 or 50505. That's just weird. And is currently in orbit with a perigee. I think I'm saying that right. Perigee, like the perigee of 180 kilometers and an apogee. I think these are different lines, right? Dex, perigee, and apogee are different curves.
Yeah, it's defining how it's, I guess, moving and where its position is in orbit.
Either way, of about 200 kilometers. Like the regular average person would be like, oh, that means it's right over there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so a couple of things. 50505. Think about maybe it's SOS. But the other thing is, what about the fact that they say it's a dummy payload? What if it's not a dummy payload? What if there's something else on there?
Yeah, I don't understand this. Are they? Yeah, especially Remedy 59 said perhaps it's a planned practice, not a malfunction. What if it's real? They say it's an accident, and then when it hits, something goes off, and nobody is expecting it. But I guess since we're watching it, would they have? What if it was something that just acted so fast we had no time to respond because they're that would be a trick, right? It's kind of like a sucker punch, like pretending you're not going to hit and then being, oh no, being in communication and then getting them to trust you and say, oh, well, we'll help watch it go down. Where is this thing going to land? That's the question. It says commercial and private entities such as SatFlare, N2YO.com, and Aerospace Corporation are tracking the out-of-control rocket and are providing maps and statistics regarding it on the respective websites. This is not the first time an out-of-control rocket has threatened the United States. And again, they're saying it's threatening us. In May, the Long March 5 main stage tumbled back to Earth in an uncontrolled manner. Much of the rocket stage burned up on re-entry. Some parts did survive re-entry and impacted Earth. It says because the Earth is covered by more water than land, there are better chances of an out-of-control rocket would strike the ocean rather than inhabited land areas, while odds favor that this out-of-control rocket will impact an uninhabited area. It is too soon to say with certainty whether or not it will be the case with this Russian rocket. It's just weird how they had this go up, and then it purposely they said that this dummy payload was not able to get into that geostationary thing. This is weird. This is what I'm talking about. There's weird stuff happening pretty much every day. Okay, so before we go on to China's artificial sun, I promise you I'm gonna that one is definitely a big subject for me. Make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. I hope that everybody is getting in on all of their sales that are going on. Again, go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. When you do this, you will actually get $50 off of any EMP Shield device. Again, you can get that per device if you want to get multiple. These can protect your car. You can get one for your house, your generator. You can get one for your solar system, your RV, motorboat, pretty much anything that you want to keep running after an EMP happens or a CME happens. That this would be something to look at. This is the same company that is not only mentioned by the Department of Homeland Security's EMP resilience report, but it is also the company that is working with agencies like DOD, DHS, and of course the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. You can get commercial grade protection on your home, again, through this link, marfooglenews.com/EMP. Not only do you get a huge discount, but you also help your favorite channel. Again, this protects against all 3 phases. All right, and then again, make sure to go over in there and check out all of the sales, anything that may be going on. Again, they had a huge sale before Christmas. I don't know if that's still going, so you guys have to go over there and go check it out. Okay, so they extended it. So many people wrote us on the 1st, and they said, please get them to extend this. I don't get paid until this day, blah, blah, blah. So we did communicate that, and I hope it's obviously that they've continued it. So if that is the case, try to get in there because we don't know when they'll stop that. And that is an extra $20 to $50 off depending on which devices you get. I believe it's stacking. So the more you get, the bigger discount per device you get. And that always goes on top of the $50 off that we get. So again, thank you guys for going through us to do that. Again, either way, I would highly recommend looking at Faraday bags or building your own Faraday bags for things you want to protect if you cannot afford something like this. Also, if you are subscribed to the other channel, which is pretty much the only requirement, Marfoogle News, we'll be giving away one of the bags. I'll talk about it later, but we're giving away one of the off-grid bags. Again, that's a duffel bag, that's a Faraday bag, or a backpack that has custom slots for laptop, cell phone, all of that stuff. So make sure to go over and subscribe to Marfoogle News. All right, and then China's artificial sun burns at 70 million degrees. It says that China's artificial sun ran for 20 minutes at a whopping 70 million degrees. So think about that. The pyroclastic flow that we were talking about in that other article was 1,000 degrees Celsius. This is 1,000,000 degrees. 70 million degrees. Dex, how is that even humanly possible? I don't even, that doesn't even seem, how would you even contain that?
I don't know. And it's 5 times hotter than the actual sun. So that's a big number that they've achieved. Even though it's only for 20 minutes, that's a long time too, when you think about it.
Dixie Doe says, same as my hot flash. I think this is a little bit hotter, but I don't know. I'm not there, so I'm not going to judge. It says, destroy our own planet. Nice. Wolves 55. Sun's not that hot, says Barry Fowler. Again, they're saying it's 5 times hotter than the sun. 70 million degrees. Why, says Pam. What was that? Pama, I think? Yeah. So why do they need that, though? More thumbs up if you appreciate. Hey, thank you, Angel Webster. And then Mercy Pray. How did Earth not burn up? Yeah, what is this for? Why are they doing this? It says scientists hope the machine will help harness the power of nuclear fusion, which would bring humanity one step closer to creating an unlimited clean energy by mimicking reactions that naturally occur on the sun or inside the sun. I get that, but how? I don't understand. I'm not a rocket scientist, obviously, but this is pretty nuts. It says researchers have been busy running tests at the experimental Advanced Superconducting Tokamak, or EAST, a nuclear fusion reactor facility to make its auxiliary heating system more hot and durable. It says the facility is called an artificial sun because it mimics the nuclear fusion reaction that powers the real sun, which uses hydrogen and deuterium gases as fuel. Designed and developed by the Chinese, the East it has been used since 2006 by scientists from all around the world to conduct fusion-related experiments. But the project has just hit an important milestone. Researchers managed to run the artificial sun at 70 million degrees for as long as 17 minutes. Think about that. That is insane. It says the real sun hits temperatures of around 15 million degrees at its core. This is so wild to me that it's like that's just nuts.
I think it has everything to do with size too. I imagine that the size of this hot spot that they're making is probably not that large. While the equipment looks huge, I imagine it's probably really small. Because if it was huge, it would be, like you said, it would be hard to contain, right? So, you're standing by a small campfire, it's not that hot, but you stand by, a burning forest fire, it's really hot, right? So I think, the size actually has to play in this for them to be able to contain that.
Carolina Pirates says had to be capsulated. Pammy, Illinois says 70 and 17, wake up people. Mark L., I'm not going to go there. China took its invention and went rogue, leaving the other nations behind, India, France, etc., etc., Granny J said. Lisa R. Hole says, crispy or maybe dust. That's too crazy. It says, we talking about the sun still. So this is the actual story on the sun, by the way. What I was talking about before is totally separate. So this is an artificial sun that burns at 70 million degrees. That is 5 times hotter or more than the actual sun. And China possesses it. Now, if China does possess something like this, I mean, this is just crazy that China is doing this first or possibly doing it first. We don't know if they're doing this. Could this have a backfire? Could this have something happen that, destroys the planet? A regular nuclear disaster could have this happen, but these guys are figuring out how to get things at 70 million degrees, 5 times hotter than the sun. Now, why are they doing this? Does this have to do, and this is just a question, could it have anything to do with how to terraform a planet? Just a question. Could you use an artificial sun to possibly or do the negative or create some of that magnetic field? I just wonder if there's some ulterior use for this other than clean energy. Obviously, unlimited clean energy would be amazing. Most people think that we already have it, that they're just not telling us about it because they want to make money on their resources. Who knows? Tell me what you think in the chat below. Seth Covington, the coolest fact is that we lose and God wins. That's awesome, Seth. Thank you for the support. Remedy59, China Sun is their power charger, a plug-in. And then Flojo Tube says 555 angel number, significant change imminent. That's not good because the thing lands on Thursday. Florida Patriots 71, rest in peace. Not all heroes wear capes. Simply Pony, thank you for saying that. And again, rest in peace. I still want to get the pictures together of Florida Patriots 71. And I was going to try to reach out to Steve again. He said Steve, her boyfriend, was going to collect pictures of her. And then I wanted to do kind of just a piece and play it. It's really, really sad. That really hit me hard this year, along with a few others that I lost in 2021. And all of them for whatever this thing is related. It was all cancer. Cancer has taken so many people I know. Over my life, I've lost so many close people, not to this stuff, to cancer. Again, thank you. Redeemed, again, thank you, you guys. Thanks for supporting. D-Live, everybody over there, thank you so much, everybody. Texas Rob 49 just doesn't stop. You've been there since the beginning at D-Live. Thank you so much. Battleborn 111, thank you. Peepaw's Dead says thanks for the much needed info. So I've got more to say about this. It says, Texas Rob says, much love, Marf Dex. Our chat is awesome. Glad to hear Adam and Dex are feeling better. Thank you. And then Divine1122, happy 22, everyone. It's an amazing time to be alive. And then Zippy Moons, I hope you're still here. It says, I watched Don't Look Up 3 times. I pick up something every time I watch. Happy New Year's, Mother Foogles. And then Lisa K23, thank you. Hello, 2022, may we thrive. So I watched it twice, and I did pick up, and I want to watch it again because there are little things. When you watch it, notice how they zoom in on Glenn Close's hands when she's talking, and look at her ring, and look at the stuff there's all sorts of weird, like, why would they zoom into that? It's just weird. As far as the artificial sun, I want to know, why are they making these artificial moons? Why are they making artificial suns? Why are they doing these things? If, they say it's for unlimited clean energy, but do they want that? China, makes all this money off of the other stuff, right? I guess they could use it for themselves. And then China harvests masses of data on Western targets from Twitter and Facebook's documents show. That's funny. One thing that I also think is funny, if you look at the company BlackRock, it has the third most money in the world next to China and the U.S. Russia, Japan, and all of the countries combined. Just take this, minus U.S. and minus China. All of the countries of the world. So just take Russia and U.S. and put them in China and the U.S. and put them in a little handful. Take all of the other countries. All of those other countries' GDP, the money that they have under control, all of them combined, does not equal what BlackRock has. Where's BlackRock? What country is that? It's not. It's a managing asset firm. It's a financial firm, right? And most of you that have a regular job and have a 401k, most of them, it's almost a monopoly. They all go through a company like BlackRock to invest the stuff. They own not one, but 3. They're the top shareholders in 3 of the competing that everybody is getting. So the day after Black Friday, when they announced, on Saturday, when they announced that the new thing came out, this new one that everybody's worried about, the stocks went up so much, it was an 8-0 day for all 3 of those companies. And guess who really profited from that? BlackRock. Just shot up like a rocket, like a Russian rocket, out of control. And guess what BlackRock does with that money? Oh, it's investing a giant chunk into China. In fact, so much so, it's billions of dollars to the where even Soros was like, hey, man, you guys are crazy. You're investing pretty much everything into China, giving our adversary just an absolute buttload of money. It really makes you think, like, what is going on here? Again, they're not competitors. They're all under the same top shareholders. So just a little side note. And then again, you've got China with a 1 million-man army of propaganda under the payroll. These people that are literally their whole purpose, their whole job is to be online as an online person. So if they want 1 million people to go over to a website and say, oh, this is great, or I love this, or I hate this, or that guy's, racist or something, they can do it. They can make things trend. They can control flow of information with 1 million people. It's pretty crazy. And obviously they have information. Now, I was talking about earlier how, Facebook has all these profiles. Well, that's not too great that China is able to hack and access all of these profiles. It says China mines social media sites, including Twitter and Facebook, to equip its military and government agencies with data on Western targets, bidding documents reveal. Including YouTube. Including all of these platforms too, I guarantee it. I would assume that they had less information, like, some of these other ones do. It says China is mining social media platforms, including Facebook and Twitter, to harvest data on Western targets for its military, police, and government agencies. The government is purchasing newer and more sophisticated data surveillance systems to collect information on foreign entities, according to the Washington Post, which reviewed bidding documents and contracts for 300 Chinese government projects dating back to 2020, to early 2020. Hey, Dex, isn't it funny that this kind of lines up with the beginning of all of this other crazy stuff?
It does, doesn't it?
What did you think about this? Now,
you're as if it was planned, right? Like, something will start, and then they're going to plan to start mining all this and get as much information. It's like they have a goal, an objective here.
Well, and by the way, when everybody was inside on their computers and nobody could leave for 3 weeks, where do you think they were?
Oh, yeah, they're all on social. I mean, they're just creating more and more data to be collected.
And for those people that aren't on very often, maybe they haven't touched Facebook in 2 years. During that first period, or for the first 2 months of not being able to go anywhere, how many people do you think got back on? Logged back in, got back on Facebook, chatted with old people, Well,
a lot. It became the way of communication, right? Because you couldn't see people face to face anymore at that time.
It says the documents revealed that a purchase of $320,000 of Chinese state media software that mines social media to create a database of foreign journalists and academics, which is really crappy because I'm probably on it, right? Because I'm a foreign, they'll consider me a journalist as much as they would Serpent ZA, right? It says officials also purchased 216,000 Beijing police intelligence programs that targets Hong Kong and Taiwan and Xinjiang Cyber Center that catalogs language content abroad. Isn't that crazy? So they actually, if you are speaking this language, they're following you. That's like Adolf style. It says an analyst with China's Central Propaganda Department said that the software will allow the state to better understand the underground network of anti-China personnel. The nation's leader are also forming a network of warning systems that will sound real-time alarms for trends that threaten to undermine the state's interests. Who's in charge here? Like, what is going on here? China unveils plan to take over Latin America. It says the Chinese Communist Party officials have unveiled an action plan for cooperation with Latin American countries that amounts to a comprehensive plan to cultivate influence and threaten American interests, including a new ministerial, following a new ministerial with the nearest neighbors of the United States. It's kind of funny because when we jumped out of the South American countries and things, everybody else jumped in. Russia and China jumped in on what is the trio? Do you remember what the trio is, Dex? I'm trying to think of all three.
Yeah, it's in Central America. It's I'll have to look it up. It's like Honduras and someone else.
And now they're talking about, of course, South America and Central America and these Latin countries. And it says the Chinese don't say we want to take over Latin America, but they clearly set out a multidimensional engagement strategy, which, if successful, would significantly expand their leverage and produce enormous intelligence concerns for the United States. That was, of course, according to Evan Ellis, a former member of the State Department policy planning staff at the U.S. Army College Research. It says Chinese officials outlined their ambitions following a ministerial with the community of Latin American and Caribbean states. This intergovernmental forum was launched in 2011 under the auspices of the late Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez, who wanted a venue to rival the Organization of American States and challenge U.S. influence in Latin America. It said, and now it stands to furnish Chinese General Secretary Xi Jinping with a platform to gather a coalition of leftist and authoritarian leader congenial to Beijing's interests. Says the Chinese Communist Party and government are actively looking to strengthen their ties throughout the Western Hemisphere, in particular with anti-American elements. So China is only going to get more powerful. I don't understand how they got to this point. And now they're essentially cutting us out of the country. How do people not see that we will have to go to war with them at some point? Otherwise, they will take us over. They will create a military, and they will keep going. Here's the thing. Even if people say, oh, well, they don't have as many as us of whatever it is. In just this year, they're making 300 new nuclear missile silos. They're not going to stop until they have not only tied us, but they're in a production rate where they are going to go past us. And when they go past us, they are either going to want to physically take control of us, or they will be so powerful that we will just sign away. We'll just do, it's something like what a Hong Kong did, right? Only a little bit different because Hong Kong, that they had that whole agreement, right? But that got taken early. With Taiwan, we'll see what goes on with Taiwan. But think about it. If you are so much more powerful than any other country, and you have these kind of views and ways of ruling, you're not going to wait, and it's going to be during Xi Jinping's lifetime, and he's not a spring chicken. I wonder if that's why he's in such a hurry, because he wants to see it under his reign. I mean, think about this. In a couple years, they went from the 4th or 5th largest navy to the largest navy in the world. How do you do that in that short of a period of time? That's crazy. And now they're going for the largest air force, and they're going for the largest, I think they have the largest manned force, just, as far as many soldiers they have. This is just like, I guess my point is if you were ruling the U.S. and you saw this happening and you see the threat of that, would you wait until they got there, or would you do a first strike? Or would you try to take it out? Would you try to do whatever you could to keep them small? What scares me is I think we're losing our ability to keep them down. And now they have made it very clear that we are their enemy. They literally closed all of their English-speaking schools. And they passed a law. They don't want any of our idolization or any of our Hollywood stuff. They're spitting gospel on their official mouthpiece to their entire country. They don't want anything to do with it. They don't even want to have anything to do with capitalism anymore. And capitalism from 1979 to now is what made all of those Chinese billionaires who can't even own a piece of Chinese land. So where do they go? They spend it other places. Now, perfectly imperfect New Jersey, a small magnifying glass makes the sun burn stuff. I like the thinking. I like the way you're thinking. That Gen X dude, Marfia, One Love, Foogle Fam, here's to probably one hell of a year. Well, I don't want to say it's going to be the worst. If you look at patterns, like I was talking to Jacob Israel, you don't want to say this is the worst year ever, or it's going to be. But there's obvious patterns, and there are things that it's common sense. I don't think things are going to get better. Maybe one thing will, but we're looking at hyperinflation now. That's coming soon. Dex, do you have anything else to say about, of course, the Latin America? I mean, this is kind of going.
They got the Panama Canal a while back, right?
Yeah.
It's just a continuation. They've marched through Africa in many different places. They'll go in and, invest and create, economic opportunities that then fall apart. And then they end up owning ports and owning critical infrastructure for these countries because the countries can't, fulfill the promises that they make or the deal that China gets with them. So, we'll see more and more of that happen. It's, that geopolitical and economic, conflict that they're doing is certainly significant. And, we saw this with the Soviets through Cuba back in the day when, Che Guevara and others went through South America. So, yeah, it's a very practical tactic on their part to do that if they're trying to dominate the world. And anybody that's not looking at this thinking that China's not trying to dominate the world, probably has their head in the sand.
And well, I mean, this is if they're right below us and they have certain kind of equipment too. It's kind of just like with Russia and Ukraine. If NATO gets into Ukraine and puts certain equipment there, it's just like how we thought, Russia had equipment in Cuba, different satellites that were there that could be security threats to us. If they get in certain places in Latin America, they would have, these really, really smooth angles to the U.S. Zippy Moons, I just want to thank you, but I especially want to thank Texas Rob 49. Just gave out basically 6 Marfia badges to 6 people, including one Aunt B, MRSA 1, Rizar, it's J562, WJSGN. So over there, the fact that they have that system, that's one thing I really like about DLive is having the Marfia badges and having a sense of that. It is really cool that you as a viewer can gift things to other viewers. That is one of the most genius things I think over there. So thank you, Texas Rob 49. Appreciate that. Chaw Money with 18 viewers just hosted. Thank you so much, dude. And thank you so much. And I appreciate you. And I apologize. I hate going on live at the same time as people like you because you are really cool. And if you guys haven't checked out Chaw Money, he's always a positive force. The guy is always laughing. He's just overall one of the nicest guys you'll ever see. And that's coming from somebody who people say, I'm a nice guy. That he's just one of those positive people that you can just tell is genuinely happy a lot of the time. Rabbit1111, thank you. It's Jay, Renegade PD, and Miss Jackson 906 says SOS ? Yeah, with the 50505, that is creepy, and who knows, it very well could be. If you guys have not stocked up, there's no better time than yesterday. Honestly, it's something that the prices keep going up and up and up, even to the point where now a lot of these companies are actually raising prices because they are getting prices raised on them how to make these. So especially with long-term survival food, something that's going to be around in 10 years, you might want to go with it sooner than later, especially if you're going like real long-term. Then I would probably try to lock in yesterday's price, right? So if you do want to prep for anything, whether it be, we always encourage to prep for a local earthquake or for a tornado or for a hurricane. Your area, no matter where you live, most likely has something like this. And it is very simple and responsible to prep. If you can afford things like this, I would highly recommend it. Again, if you can't, we recommend different channels that can help you do it on the cheap, like Alaska Prepper, really great guy, does payday preps. But if you do want to just get it done and check it off your list, go to marfooglenews.com/prep. It's a one-stop shop. It has long-term survival buckets, food, bags, everything. It has iodine pills. It has emergency gear. It has battery banks. It has flashlights. Pretty much anything you can think of. It's a really fun site because you get to check out all the gadgets, all the stuff. But again, it is a reputable company, and it has really good food. I got some of the other stuff. The meal that I tried was 7 years old. That's why I went with their company. It was good after being 7 years old. So again, it's really, 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 really good. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep. And in the next couple weeks, I'm going to try to make one of the meals here so you guys can see what it's like. This helps our channel and it helps you. So I think it's a win-win. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/prep. Let's see. Flojo2 says, I can explain why on China. Called 10 times, left voice message. I hope you didn't leave 10 voice messages because we have so many. It's very hard to get through everybody's. But again, make sure you can also, I believe you can text that number as well. But if you can, email me. Put your thoughts into an email. And please, do it. In fact, put called 10 times in the subject. I will see it, and I see the effort you are putting through to try to get a hold of me. Again, email adam@marfooglenews.com, and I will check it after the show. I appreciate that. And FlojoTube, if you want to call in, we have a call-in show tomorrow. I believe, right? Yeah, Tuesday. All right, and this stuff is just nuts. So if you remember, China told its people and scared the hell out of everybody and said for everybody to start preparing. They said that they needed to stock up on all of their food. And fast forward, look at what happened. Now we're seeing videos of them putting barbed wire in hallways where they're welding people's doors shut. Back when it happened, people thought, oh, is it WW3? Why are they telling us? People freaked out. They panicked. They emptied out stores, very similar to what happened here when CV started. They emptied out the stores. Everybody was lined out the door. People were fighting over bags of rice. No joke. Like there were fights. There were people going to the hospital because they were fighting over rice and other, long-term storage things because their government told the people there to stock up for winter. And they said, no, don't worry. We're not going to conflict. It's not because we're taking Taiwan. It's not because, anything's happening. It's because, you might be on lockdown. Now, fast forward a couple months, it actually may have been that if it's true what they're putting out. I want you to think back to the very beginning of CV where all these videos were people in doorways just, in bags and people, frothing at the mouth like they had rabies and stuff. All these videos came out and later we were like, well, how did all of these videos come from this, right? It seemed like propaganda, like scaring people. Those same videos are circulating. Which makes me think this is a pattern and it's a playbook. But again, this, I believe, is real. People are starving in China because we know people in China. Again, there's people that actually use a VPN from China and are living in what do you call it? One of the major port cities, not Chengdu. I can't remember. Either way, we have a couple Foogle fan members. We've interviewed a couple people that were there, and there are people getting information out, and they say it's really, really bad, especially in some of the non-big cities. It's not good. It says, quote, I'm starving to death. Panic in China as millions are forced inside in strict CV. So it does kind of seem like they were telling them to get food, and that means they planned this all the way back at the beginning of December. In fact, I think it was December 1st or 3rd that they did that or something. Maybe even November. It says the city which is... the city which is home to the famous terracotta warriors is the center of the largest in China since the original epicenter in Wuhan. The final week of 2021 saw China's case number climb to its highest point since March 2020, when many countries across the world plunged into lockdowns. So do you see Do you see the pattern here? Now U.S. is talking about it. All these other countries are now like going right back in. We're talking about 2.0 here. And I think it's still coming. And that's just my opinion. And that's because for the U.S. to go back into that, it would take more. Or it would take a serious event. People think, oh, well, we're free here and, oh, my state won't do it again. Everything can change overnight. Here it just takes longer. Other countries are putting people in camps. Let's just put it that way. And this country, China, again, this approach is one that Xi'an is seeing once again as its 13 million inhabitants went into a strict nearly a fortnight ago, 7 days. It says, however, residents in the city say that they are now at risk of starving within the confines of their own home, as venturing outside to buy food is now a distant prospect. Under previous measures, one person from every household would be allowed out of their home to buy groceries every 2 days. This was tightened in response to rising cases.
It was tightened to 0. You can't leave at all now.
And Dex, so... By the way, this is what there are videos of them putting giant barbed wire in the hallways all the way up these apartment buildings. So you can't go up and down the stairs, can't take the elevator. They cut the power to it. And they're even putting stuff down so you can't jimmy down your porch. And they're welding people's doors shut, like putting a metal plate and a metal plate, drilling it onto your door, drilling it onto the thing. And they do it quick. At least in these videos, they drilled a metal plate, and then they welded it shut. What the F is going on? This has to be propaganda. Otherwise, what the hell is about to happen? What is this? What is this? And it makes me think to what the DoD employee that I talked to said, and when he was talking about the bio events that were to come, I wonder if we're not even into the thick of it, if something is on the horizon. That is just my opinion, just to clarify. After speaking with many people, including, but in particular, that one DoD employee I met in Mo Clips, that changed a lot of things in my head. CV microchip developer says there's no stopping rollout, whether we like it or not. Just let that sink in. The CV microchip developer says there's no stopping rollout, whether we like it or not. That's creepy. It says a Swedish startup tech company has invented a scannable microchip that is implanted in people's arms that can display your status. This digital implant is designed to be embedded into people's arms so your V passport pops up when scanned. The invention received a lot of attention when first announced, with some describing it as invasive. That's not invasive, Dex. It's not invasive to, put something in your body, right?
Oh, not at all. We've talked about China's ability to do it with, gene conflict and weapons. So why not? You should expect this now, right? That's what they're trying to tell us. Get ready for it.
This is insanity. This is the mark. If this isn't the mark, then I don't know what could be, right? Soon they'll add your credit cards to it, and they'll add your Apple Pay and all of that. Just beep, 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 beep. I just broke my mic. I Apple paid you. Whoosh. What do you think of this? Would you ever get this in your arm? If you are pro any of this, that's fine. Let me know what would you do this? Would you put this in your arm? In fact, let's take a poll. And I hope people don't do just the popular answer. If you honestly do think that this would be convenient rather than carry something on you, let me know. Would you do this? Press 1. Would you never put anything in your body as far as a microchip? Press 2. And it doesn't have to be related to this. Just anything that has your information. So 1, you would do this. 2, you would never do this in your life. Or I guess let's add 3 maybe. And you can do a second one if you wanted to do maybe. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Like, there are some ones. 3, 2, 3. Dustin H. You're that guy that does 4. Love you, Dustin. Panhandle Prepper. Priscilla, let's see. Grifley says maybe. And again, maybe they just do it for something like your pass to work or something. What if they did a generic one that didn't have any information in it, but then you could alter it? So if you're working in, say, New York or something, and you're working in an office, they could put a generic chip in it that you could scan to get into your work, and all it had was like RFID to do that, right? And then if they moved you to North Carolina, they could put a different chip in it or something. Or they could pop one in because you have a space for it or something, like you have an embedded holder, and then they give you a chip for the day to get to have access to a certain computer. And it's top secret or something, so you can only do it if you have that chip in there, and then when you leave work, they take it out. Something weird like that, right? Who knows? But I you guys could see it's almost all 2s, and that's a ratio right there. And nothing against, don't pick on the people that said 1. I mean, everybody has their opinions. Some people might think it's convenient. Also, other people, there's some people that they just don't care, right? They don't think about that kind of stuff. Oh my God, my daughter brought over her Oculus, and extremely bizarre. It gave me a headache and so not interested. I choose reality. Remedy 59, Oculus, I'm sure it was the Go one. That's not exactly, it's probably the portable one. And it's good, but there are other ones that don't give you a headache. It's because of the ratio or the whatever they call it. There's different levels of it. I think virtual reality is cool, but again, Oculus has to go through Facebook and all sorts of weird stuff that is going into the metaverse. I don't like the fact that virtual reality is the future. And that scares me. Mrs. B and Lola Cafe. Mrs. B, thank you so much for your support. And Lola Cafe, you as well. Thank you guys for supporting Dex and I. Appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you. Make sure to put an M in the chat for our mods. Make sure to say something nice to one of your favorite mods right now. They are working their butts off to keep it a peaceful place down there. The mods have always kept it peaceful down there. They also try to be as accepting as possible. I hope, again, if you ever have an issue with getting muted or anything like that, just know that usually they give 3 chances, and then you would have to come to me or something. Most of the time, though, if it happens and it's just because you broke an accidental rule, there's nothing personal there. If they mute you, just let it go. 5 minutes, come back in and act like nothing happened. Don't get all offended. They're probably doing something because it's just a motionless rule that you broke or something. Ashley Jean, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, and I appreciate FlojoTube and everybody else. Dex, do you want to tell us about some of this other stuff that went here.
Absolutely. So head over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for the show. Scroll down to web-only content, and you'll see the rest of the story. Everything else we couldn't talk about. Get an update on the NASCAR card that we talked about last time. Apparently, as it was approved by NASCAR, it then got unapproved by NASCAR right after they approved it. So get the full story there. You can see what's happening. Some things happening in the next few days around, a particular event that happened 2 days from now or 3 days from now last year. So that'll be updating there on both sides of the aisle, what's going on. Of course, you probably heard our Georgia rep here, MTG, is banned from all platforms now, apparently. And lots of other things going on, including Ghislaine Maxwell's husband leaves her for the yoga teacher. So I don't know why we didn't see that coming. But go check out the rest of the story. It's marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail, scroll down to web-only content. Or if you're on YouTube, just open the description and click on that first link right there.
Sorry about that. And so Marjorie there got permanently suspended from Twitter for tweeting out graphs, essentially. I saw people sent me the original tweets, and I couldn't believe it.
I think she got banned from another one, too. It might have been Facebook.
Oh, but they're totally separate. Yeah. Okay. Either way, thank you, everybody that was watching tonight. Thank you. Let's see here. Thank you. A big, big thank you to the mods. Bold the Coffee says, was that the seatbelt ding? Yes, I am secretly in my car. You can see me, but this is just my hologram. I am in the car ready to go. Actually, that was that website. I don't know what the hell that was, but it did sound like that. Paula D. Carter says, I just adopted a dog that is chipped. I never chipped any of my dogs. I've been thinking of having chip removed. Do you have a credit card, Paula? If you do, you have a chip. I mean, even the ones that aren't. And then most licenses now have RFIDs in them that people don't realize they do. If you have certain clothes have RFIDs. Your car has RFIDs, I guarantee it. I mean, even some of the older ones. So I'm just saying that there's chips everywhere, and most people don't even realize they have it. If you use any of those trackers, if you use any of the smart devices, and I mean any of them, they all have RFIDs. Fitbit runs off your Bluetooth on your phone. I wonder if I would think that would have one. Your phone too. Yeah, your phone has an RFID chip. Your phone has everything in it. Maybe if it's an old, super old one. GPS in your car and phone, Darth V says. Yeah, lots of craziness. By the way, thank you, LCJC family. Thank you for being in here and modding. Thank you, Lisa R. Hall. Seriously, guys, make sure to say thank you to the mods. They are here every night. Again, if it was up to me, we would have a whole factory of us working here. I really do mean that. There's several people. West Virginia, I hope you are doing well wherever you are. Susan loves Huskies. Thank you. Joseph Newhouse. CJ Blaze, I miss you. And Trinity, Jstone78, thank you. Snaps, wherever you are. Old Rider, Stevie Jung. Thank you. Rip Curl Readiness. Linda. Darla Dean. Again, thank you. And then a Happy Hippie Crochet. Miss you guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Again, thank you, everybody. Everybody, I'm getting out of here. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. It's where I say thank you to the people that matter most. You. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. rock a band. Wired Wrong, Sun, thank you so much for watching tonight. Christine K, WJS, Battleborn 111, Awake and Aware, thank you. Victoria Gibson, nice to have you here tonight. Marvin Funtime, Miss Jammer, Lurker 1, Paul Shaggy, Troy, Rhyme Time 816, thank you guys, love you. I just wanna go back, not your grandpa. I roll it down and grateful down. Oh, oh. Paul Shaggy, Twilight, and the Paul. Go loco. Island by the sea and sandy down. Oh, oh, oh. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. It's so nice to see you feeling better at home. New nothing I think you. I'm gonna smash on a light by and go and do everything that you do. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. I was walking down the kind road when I found a bit of old gold. Gone Girl 777, thank you for your support. Thank you for the support on PayPal. Survival Living, aka CFP. Massive support from Linda G, Blanche H, Jewelry Creations, Vera H, Shannon B, Jessica B, Bobby on the D, Live Gary D, Keith A, Edith D, Sandra H, and Karen W in the pursuit of magic. Aguinaldo R, and everybody far away from being here but that dark. Wanna seek you here with your food fam. Got the Linda P, Deborah H, Kazuko. Bring it back, everybody going cuckoo. With the Carrie and my Jessica. Thank you, Able-Bodied, Sarah H, Lance P, Don B. I said, Don on the beat, on the blue, on the edge, on the Karen, W on the Sam H, and the WW and Carly K. I just like that funky fried. Whoa, that funky fried chicken on a Tuesday. Got that brand on L on Bacon Bread. Survivor living. Make sure they go check out Survivor Living and Joseph New House. I said new I was